These are the materials you're going to need from Miss Bumgarner. Get a square of cardboard, get a template to trace a circle. You need a needle and some of the colorful thread, scissors, and a pencil. Okay, to start, we're going to put our template onto our piece of cardboard right in the center, and we're going to trace the circle around the outside of the template. Once you've traced the circle part, we're going to trace the lines. Everywhere that I've made a slit in the cardboard, you're going to draw a line up past the circle that you traced. Don't move the tracer so that your lines are in the same exact spot. You can pause the video and do this now. Before you remove the template, you want to make sure to put the dot in the center so you know where to poke your hole. And then we're going to cut out the circle around our cardboard. So don't cut the lines that you drew off. We need to cut right outside of the lines. And we basically just want to cut the corners off so that it's not a square and it's a circle. The next thing we need to do is make these lines slits so that we can warp our strings through the lines. We're going to cut the lines right up to the circle that you drew so that it's a small slit in the cardboard. Don't cut past the circle. You can pause the video again so that you can do this part. Okay, so we've got our lines cut and our circle drawn. Now we need to poke a hole in the center. You're going to just take your needle, poke it right through where you drew the dot. If your cardboard's kind of hard like mine, you can put the needle on the table and push through the back of the cardboard. You want to make sure that the hole goes all the way through and your needle can fit through the hole. The next thing that we're going to do is thread our needle with our string, tie a knot at the end, and we're going to warp our loom. This is your loom. We're going to start with our thread and our needle through the back of the loom and pull all of the extra string. You need to pull until you have probably about a 2 or 3 inch tail. We're going to take the tail and we're going to attach it to one of the little notches that you made so that it stays where it's supposed to be. So you want a little tail coming out of the front so you know where to start. And we're going to warp your loom in a clockwise pattern, so make sure you're going in order around the circle, and we're going to put the string through the notch and then put the needle through the center, through the back. Okay, this pattern is going to go all the way around the circle, pull all of the string through the notch, through the back. When you get back to the tail part that you started, where you started, we're going to take that little tail out and finish the warp on the front. So detach that from the notch, put this last string through, and we're going to just tie these strings together on the back side. So if you want to, you can also use a piece of tape, but I would just tie a knot, and then you can cut off any extra string that you have. So now that we're done warping your loom, we're going to write your name on it. Please flip it over and write your name on the back side. The part with the knot is the back, and then if you flip it over, we're going to weave onto the side where you drew the circle, because that's where you're going to stop your weaving. So you need a needle and your thread. You want to pick the yarn that you were using to weave with before. Make sure that you're getting long enough piece, the same thing as before, to arm lengths, or both of your arms stretched out. Tie your string onto your needle, and then we're going to start the weaving. The first string, we're going to start just like we started your warp string. So we're going to put the needle through the hole through the back of the weaving and pull all of the string all the way through. We are not doing what we did with the warp strings to attach these to the notches. We are weaving this string through your warp strings. So we're going to do the same pattern under, over, and you can probably only get about 3 or 4 strings until you need to pull your needle through. That's fine. Pull all of your string through until it touches the strings, just like before, and then continue your pattern. Make sure you're starting where you stopped. So I'm under, over, I need to continue that pattern, under, over, under, over. Pull all of the string all the way through. And in your other weaving, you had to alternate patterns every time you went through. Right now, we're creating a spiral, and because of the way that the strings are, we're actually not going to have to change the pattern. So right now, where I started, I've got an under-over pattern. All I'm going to have to do is continue what I was doing, and it will automatically change the pattern for me. So I'm right now under, over, and I'm going to just keep doing that pattern, and it's going to actually be the opposite. You don't really have to worry about that. Just keep weaving under, over, keep the same pattern, and continue to weave, and it'll start to make the spiral for you. When you're done with your first color, you're going to pull the needle off of your thread, tuck the little tail behind the rest of the weaving, and start where you stopped. So you can get your second color of string, and I can help you start the second string.